Good evening. This is Debra Wilson. It is Saturday, the 1st of May, 2021. The time is 1900 hours and 53 minutes. That's GMT, and I'm in Bradford. How do you define terror? In my research, I look at how the state counterterrorism police. So when I look at my research and the scope of my research, I stay within the guidelines in which this state, this nation defines terror. But when I'm seeking to understand the continuum of terror, I actually think terrorism is more pervasive than most states define it. I think currently terrorism seems to be defined along the lines of who and what is impacted. For instance, I believe knife crime has the same impact on a community as terrorism does. What is defined as terrorism? I grew up in a neighborhood on the south side of Chicago that was heavily traumatized and perpetually traumatized by street gangs. I don't believe the impact to that community, my community, is any different than the impact that 9/11 had on America. So again, in my research, the scope of what I look at in terms of how MI5 and SO15 understand terrorism is along the same guidelines as the state in terms of defining what is terrorism. But when I'm seeking to understand identities that are weaponized to the point of committing terrorist acts, I look at the continuum of terrorism as I understand it, and how that what that weaponized identity does to people. Now, I think it will present me with challenges in my research, and I'm keen to understand how my advisors, supervisors will understand or feel about the way I'm approaching it. But again, my belief is that most nations define terrorism or not based on who and what is impacted. So I believe there is a continuum of what is terrorism, that because states choose to decide which violent acts to delegate as terrorism, I believe we're missing out on an understanding of the ways in which people weaponize an identity to the point of committing violence against others. I hope that makes some sense. This is Debra Wilson. I am in Bradford, and it is Saturday, and it is the 1st of May, 2021. Thank you very much for listening.